You can hear those keyboard clicks. That's how you know that the magic's happening. Let's see if the camera's fine. Got a big old face today. Hi. How's everyone doing? I'm BoredGamer. I make Star Citizen content. That's probably why you're here, to listen to me talk about Star Citizen. If you'd like to ask a question during the live stream, just put question in brackets and then ask a question. Hope you are doing well. I'm a little sort of battered and bruised from going out of the weekend. I drank a bit too much. I was a little sick on Saturday from drinking too much. Got a poor constitution. I'm bruised all on my rib cage. I cut up my leg somehow. I don't know. I wasn't even that drunk. I sort of woke up with a load of injuries. And it really hurt. Basically, all I want you to know is don't be like BoredGamer. BoredGamer is an idiot. But I hope everyone else is doing well. We are on the home straight to the 2952 Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. That starts on the 18th of November. It's going to be one of the biggest events of the year. It's the biggest remaining event of the year, at the very least. Probably the biggest sales event. If you want to try and pick up a ship or try a ship, it's the time to do it. There's going to be a load to do, a load of cool activities to do in game with the expo at New Babbage on Microtech. So yeah, get involved with that. It's well worth it. And if you haven't tried Star Citizen before, try it. If you want to get friends involved, it's a good time for them to try it. So yeah, we've got 3.18, which should be going into wider testing probably at some point during the late November sort of stages, and then the plan to have 3.18 at least in some form early December at the moment to live. I say in some form because we don't 100% know if it's going to have all the mechanics that have previously been attributed to it in its initial release. So let's sort of wait and see. We do know there's a load of cool stuff coming with it, including things that they have sort of off the cuff mentioned or aren't part of the roadmap, but are still coming with it, like the Gen 12 renderer and some extra missions and all that sort of stuff.
I finally caught him live.
Hurricane Warning, thank you very much for becoming a board subscriber boy. That is very much appreciated. Subscribe previously, Steve. Thank you very much. It's very kind. I saw someone else as well. Rob Converse. I hope, are you the owner of the Converse brand of shoes? Do kids wear shoes anymore? I don't know anymore. Thank you very much for becoming a board citizen and using that join button underneath my videos. Thank you. You do not need to donate or subscribe or whatever to the stream to have your questions read or anything like that. You're more than welcome to. It is genuinely appreciated, and anything that is donated or a part of a subscription or whatever, I will try to read immediately. But I will typically come to everyone's question, or at least most questions that are appropriate, that I catch at some point. I do scroll up and down, and I do look for the question in brackets tags, typically. So sort of bear that in mind. Yes, so 3.17.4, that's going to be coming with the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo in the next couple of weeks. Not much in there beyond the IAE content, as far as we're aware. But it might have a few extra little bug fixes and things like that. Oh, Hurricane Warning, that's genuinely very kind. He's gifted a load of subs to loads of other people. Pramster Caparas. I can't say your name. Nvidia 101, Captain Shenanigans, sorry, Citizen Shenanigans, and Wiley Type. You've all been forcibly subscribed to my channel. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much, you beautiful boy, Hurricane Warning. That was very kind of you. Thank you very much, sir. You caught me live and then gave me money. That sounds perfect. Oh, you beautiful boys. Thank you. And Rob Converse, you're a beautiful well boy. Thank you. They've got some dumb emotes. Is BoredGamer supposed to be a play on words for BoredGamer? I know you mentioned you played board games but never connected the dots. Yes. So BOARD, BORED. It is supposed to be a play on words. It was supposed to be my channel was going to be covering video games that I liked and board games and Kickstarters that I liked. I'm a huge board game fanatic and don't play enough, but I own a lot. Do you think that the Retaliator will get nerfed? So all the ships are going to get balanced heavily and hugely, and they're all going to be useful in certain roles. Oh, you beautiful boy, Stormfire. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind words and very kind money. Thank you very much. Oh, you star. I'm glad you're here, Stormfire, mate. I'm glad you're doing well as well. I assume you're doing well. Cap your ass. Oh, Hurricane Warning. Thank you very much for... well, I mean, you paid for him to have subscription. That's how we're pronouncing his name from now on. Thank you very much. Genuinely appreciated. So all ships are going to get rebalanced hugely over between now and when we get physicalized components, and then they tweak and balance weapons. Tamborello, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. There's some sort of weird warning happening on my screen about a hype train choo-choo or something. I don't know. I'm not great at streaming, but you tell you what, you get honest streaming from me with frills, no frills. I don't know. Is this frills? Are these frills? So yeah, ships are all going to get hugely rebalanced and changed and updated, and they should be useful and still focused at what the target area they were focused at before. So the Retaliator, for example, will be a solid sort of bomber, as obviously it's going to have a reasonable amount of turretage as well. So expect the Retaliator to... I mean, it's going to be modular as well, so you'll be able to make it into more of a cargo ship rather than a torpedo sort of bomber. But yeah, it's going to be, if you have it on the torpedo configuration, it's going to be very powerful against larger ships. Not necessarily great against smaller ones, but I mean, it's still going to have quite good turret coverage. And obviously, you can set it up as a drop ship or as a cargo ship, and that sort of stuff as well. When do you think it will get its gold standard? So, gold standard is a term that is overused. Joe's on. Thank you very much for the subscription to Prime Boy, and Tamborello. Thank you very much for the bits. That's genuinely very appreciated. So gold standard is massively overused as a term, because gold standard just means brought up to the current top tier in-game standards, which means that all the ships in 3.18, no ships at gold standard. Well, I mean, a couple might be. Do you see what I mean? So it doesn't really matter as well when it gets its gold standard pass. So it's more updated one because all ships are going to need one with the physicalized components sort of coming out. You see what I mean? Hope that sort of answers your question. Is there a wipe coming? So I believe there's a full wipe in 3.18 and probably another full wipe in 4.0. There's a planned full wipe in 3.18. So a full wipe will get rid of all ships and Alpha UBC that you've earned in-game. Now, they might give extra bonuses or some other ways of having some extra Alpha UBC to start in 3.18, because sometimes they go, well, if you participated in some events just before the switch over of the patch, or if you had a load of money before, we'll try and carry it over. There is some stuff they could do if they wanted to, but it's always better to expect, unless Cloud and PM say otherwise, that it's going to be a full wipe when they say full wipe. Rebalance coming 3.18. There'll be some balance changes, but I don't expect extensive balance changes because they haven't gone through and changed the flight model to have the travel mode versus combat mode, or QCM, quantum control mode, versus SCM, standard control mode yet. I don't think that's supposed to be part of 3.18, but I might be surprised. I'm pretty sure it's not part of 3.18, so I wouldn't expect extensive balance changes in 3.18. 3.18 update when you can probably expect a sort of first wave PTU later in November, or late November. They plan to have a live build of 3.18 in players' hands early to mid-December is probably a more realistic goal. And with Souther Blades, AI, and hired NPCs, will ships like the Carrack be reasonable for 1 to 2 players? Yes. So you are much more able to run larger ships with small crews, or even just solo, if you have hired NPCs and you're using the sort of server blades and stuff. So it's always going to be better to run with more players, but you will be able to run these ships with hired NPCs and the AI blades. What else have we got here? With consumer spending down worldwide, you think CIG will offer slightly lowered prices the week of the expo to drive more sales? So it's weird the way they calculate what value that ships are at, because sometimes they overly push it towards the dollar value compared to the pound value, and then vice versa. So I wouldn't expect much in the way of additional discounts. They might not raise ship prices as high as they would have previously. You will have some discounted packages. Did Hurricane Warning, did you just give me a load more subs? Oh, you beautiful boy. Thank you very much. That is genuinely very kind. I do appreciate that. Luscious Snow, Kaniak, 89, Obajan Kanaobi, Sunk Shark. I mean, I could try and read the words. Jay the Mitch, you've all been subscribed to my channel. I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much. Genuinely, Hurricane Warning, that is very kind. Very much appreciated. You are a beautiful, beautiful boy. What else have we got here? Are we thinking 3.17.4 for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo and then 3.18 shortly after? Yes. Will be rough to have a wipe immediately after an event. It presumably brings in new players. I see what you mean. They're not going to have that much. They're going to be still learning the game. It'll be fine, probably. I see what you mean. It might be annoying that they're just starting to get their feet off the ground and then only to be slapped down. I ask about the Gladiator as they released the A1 for the smaller bomber, but isn't that the Gladiator? So the Gladiator, more specifically, is a fighter bomber. And the Gladiator not really using gravity bombs as standard, whereas the A1 appears to be gravity bomb driven as a focus. A smaller version of the A2, kind of. The Gladiator much more as a almost used in wings, with Hornets and stuff as a fighter bomber. any ideas on what the new Drake ship will be? There's a lot of stuff that it could be. There was obviously some leaks and stuff that I can't discuss specifically because they're either Cardi leaks. But there's certainly going to be a new Drake ship. That's what it looks like beyond just the Corsair. Hi, Board. Hope you're doing well. What would your ideal role be in the perfectly finished and bug-free Star Citizen? I like industry and base building. So getting involved with base building and resource extraction. The thing is that I want to do a little bit of everything as well, because I do quite enjoy combat gameplay and fleet battles and boarding and pretty much everything. I'm much more of a lawful player than I am a sort of PvP / criminal player, but I will probably participate in pretty much everything. Because number one, I sort of enjoy a little bit of everything, and number two, it's probably quite good to cover that on my channel and sort of talk about it. Yes, I understand that lots of people are worried about rising costs of PC components, especially graphics cards, and the purchase of more spaceships in Star Citizen. You don't have to buy anything in Star Citizen beyond the starter package. You can get everything in-game, and a lot of the times I would recommend that you get everything in-game because it gives you something to actually play for, and then get, and then sort of expand from there, and gives you a lot more play hours, as it were. Do you think that the Retaliator will get... as we talked about earlier. What else do we got? Will CIG start selling used ships? So in-game, you will be able to purchase, as far as I'm aware, second-hand ships and ships directly off other players and that sort of stuff. New camera looks sharp. No, it's probably just like I magically set the settings up slightly better, or I'm slightly further away or something like that today. I do have a camera that I bought ages ago for streaming that is a lot better. I just need to set it up, and I'm lazy. Had trouble finding out who won the brand for the mining ship. So the new medium to large size mining ship they're working on is RSI, an RSI ship. What would your ideal run? So we talked about a minute ago. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot talk about any other potential versions of the Pisces. There you go. That works, right? I think it's hard to tell. There's lots of weird things happening on my screen. Thank you very much, Hurricane Warning. I can see that you're gifting more subs because you're a monster. Shempasta, Bretley 67, than some numbers. Capital Andelmo, Delmondo, and Siren Industries. Welcome to the subbed area of my channel. Cal Freezy, thank you very much for the Prime sub. That is very much appreciated. Oh, Hurricane Morning, you are a beautiful boy. Antonius, Antonius 1. There you go. I'll read the words. I've been watching your content for a while. Keep up the great work. Cheers from the USA. Thank you very much. I appreciate the donation as well. That's very kind. And I like making the videos. Beyond everything else, I really enjoy Star Citizen as a project to follow. I enjoy playing it. I would not play Star Citizen as my only game yet. It does not hold enough gameplay for me to solely play that. I'm really enjoying sort of Overwatch 2 and a load of like roguelike card games like Slay the Spire and stuff like that I play. And like Vampire Survivors likes and things like that. I quite enjoy that. What am I about to try? Is it Against the Storm? Is that what it's called? Sort of like a roguelike city builder, little village builder, sort of like stuff like that. I really like Frostpunk. I like the quite hard, slightly narrative-driven sort of resource management games, things like that, and builders. I'm reasonably good at them. Oh, that's very kind. Thank you very much. Tambrello, thank you very much for more bits. That's a very generous audience today. I appreciate the generosity, you monsters. Hurricane Warning, if you feel free to message me if you want me to cover any particular topics or anything. I always, when people give me loads of money, I feel like I should give them something back. If you've got something you particularly want me to have a look at, feel feel free to say, and I'll check it out as a even it's just like a little one-liner and a video. Best guess 4.0 release. Q2 seems optimistic. Yes, it's Q2 is probably optimistic. That's what I'm hoping it is. Q2, Q3 of next year. And that's what it looks like. Which Drake ship, please? Why would CIG aim for development completion when they will just keep making money forever? They don't. What do you mean development completion? They're not aiming for development completion. They're aiming for a minimum viable product for a version 1 release. Yeah, so that's the first thing they're aiming towards. Then they can have an on-the-shelf release of the game and continue developing. I mean, has Eve stopped developing since they released the game? Has Elite? No. And they shouldn't, because they're then live products. And they want to keep on adding content. But they are aiming at a genuine minimum viable product for version 1 of the game, which will include most of what we've been sort of sold. And I don't think it's going to have a huge gameplay area. Well, it will have a huge gameplay area, but I think it's going to be like 12 systems for a version 1 release, or like 24 systems, not 100. What are your PC specs for Star Citizen? I've got an i7 and 3060, 1TB SSD storage, 16, and somehow I get lag spikes. Well, Star Citizen's terribly unoptimized. So I've got a 3080 from a GeForce boy. I've got 36 gigs of very fast RAM. I can't remember what it is, and I've got a 5950X as my CPU. My PC's pretty custom, well, purpose built for Star Citizen. I've got an M2 drive that just has Star Citizen on it as well. So I mean, I get the game doesn't run perfectly for me either. I can only run it at 1440p. I wanted to run it at 4K. I'm close to being able to run it at 4K 60 frames, but I think really we're waiting on Vulkan, aren't we? Vulkan integration is going to really help. So Gen 12 renderer stuff that's coming in 3.18, that should help make the game a lot better over a larger multitude of systems, like genuinely. But Vulkan integration that's coming shortly afterwards should then catapult that into significantly better sort of graphics options and making use of a load more sort of graphical features. Hurricane Warning, thank you so much. Another 5 people subscribe to my channel. Februarist Maximus, Vigilant Fox, Rob John, Putin, and Papag. Papa G6. I mean, that's not what it says on my screen until it comes up on my screen. Yeah, you beautiful boy. Thank you very much, Hurricane Legend. That is genuinely appreciated. It's very kind. I'm not sure if I've missed you when you've done it as well. There's so much stuff on my screen at the moment. And lots of little jumping emojis going, your train! The train's happening! What else have we got? New face moisturizer. I think my face has got a bit bigger. I've gained a little bit of weight. I don't look like tubby, but I mean, I need to lose a bit of weight. It's filled out my face nicely, I think. Also, the other thing is that when I'm feeling good, because I'm bipolar quite badly, and I'm quite anxious as well. But when I'm having a good day, I look a lot more energized. What do you think the new RSI mining ship will look like? More Connie or more Orion? So it's going to be closer to the Constellation in size than it's going to be the Orion, almost certainly, because the Orion is huge. I mean, really, I'm expecting a slightly larger mining Starfarer. Yeah? Do you think I'll be able to keep a Boreal Stalker, so that's the Microtech Yeti, as a pet, so I can feed people to it? Maybe like a Rancor pit style thing. You might be able to capture some of these animals. Maybe a little baby Microtech Yeti. Maybe you'll be able to have them in a little pen or area or on a farm or something. And we'll have to wait until Cloud Imperium talk about that more. You'll certainly be able to have them as opponents. What planet is the dark red with the Dark Red Dwarf Sun, probably Pyro, and we were looking at. I wish Consolidated Outland was an option for the medium mining ship. Oh, maybe in the future they'll have something more miney. I see what you mean. I like a lot of people like that. Have you tried Hell Let Loose yet? No. Do you think it's worth trying, Stormfire? Is that the World War II one? I'll check it out at some point. Is that where you're in control of a little squad? Sort of. In first person. I'll check it out at some point. Is there an update 3.17.4 or is there any 3.18? 3.17.4 should be coming just before the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, because that's what it's containing mostly content for that. Board, when do you think we're getting our BB-12 manned maneuvering unit from the original Kickstarter goals? I still got that in my hangar. I do not know. There's some little drones and weird things. When am I going to have use for the towel? Hell at least he's got to. Yeah, squad can play spots. Squad leader can play spots. I'll check it out. I will check it out. I know a lot of people have said good things about Hell at least. Do you think 3.17.4 will be a wipe? Nope. Should be no wipes there beyond just wiping your current base location, home location. Will we be given Alpha UBC to help us restart off the wipe? They have not said anything about that, but it's possible because they sometimes do that. Antonius, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. I haven't already said that. I thought you would already... Did you just give money and then sub on Twitter? You monster, thank you. Very much appreciated. Does the wipe include rep? I think in 3.18 it does. I think it's everything is wiped. I believe. 50 players on a server, and I should be 100 to 120 at the moment. But I suppose they could be only been 50 on, when you were actually playing. And I still run into players everywhere I go. Is Star Citizen Universe really big enough to support 3 million plus players? Doesn't need to support 3 million plus players at the same time. Concurrent players would be madness for 3 million players. So you probably get to see like maximum 50,000 to 100,000 players at like peak, super peak times. And then that's going to be divided over quite a large play area. And then there'll be artificial ways of restricting players in certain areas. And then there's going to be shards as well if there's too many. And then you have shard affinity. So you don't necessarily have to have those 1,000 players on the same star system. In the same real-time star system as each other. They'll want that if possible, but it might not be possible. What else have we got? Do you play 40k or War Machine? I haven't played War Machine ever. I play 40k. I just cleared out my AdMech army. I play Age of Sigmar as well. I've got a Vampire Count army, a Soul Blight Gravelord, as they're called now. I'm a moderately good painter. I've only got something terrible on my desk. I've got an Elder thing on my desk from Cthulhu Death May Die that I've just painted, which is just weird to paint because I was like, I don't know what this is supposed to look like, and it looks like a weird tower. But all of my Cthulhu Death May Die models look like they're from the High Fleet Kraken from Nids, from Tyranids. I like the paint schemes. I'm a moderately good painter. I used to professionally paint when I was young. I used to paint and get money. That's professional paint. When I was young for 40k stuff. Cranky Old Man, that's how I see your name now. Cranky Old Man, thank you very much for subbing. That is very kind. And Dracozen, thank you very much. That's very, very kind. They did just do a collab with Magic the Gathering. So one of the things I run as well as a sort of little side hustle is I buy Kickstarters up and collectibles as a little eBay shop. So Magic the Gathering is something I cover because I used to be a low-ranked Magic the Gathering judge. So it was like many years ago. I really like 40k, I like Warhammer, I like Magic the Gathering to some extent. So I bought a load of the Orc Secret Lair Magic the Gathering cards because it's like, they'll be worth something eventually. What else have we got here? I do think they'll come back and add new versions of ships that we already have. So they did talk about this a long time ago, where they might have version 2s of ships in the future, and sort of like the new modern version of this ship, and that sort of stuff. So potentially, yes. And they could obviously just add more modular parts of ships to increase the variety of them. I'm low-key sad. Been waiting for the Corsair for years now. I'm happy we're finally getting it, but a piece of me is super disappointed. I was expecting to have Pyro to explore with the Corsair. Not having it kind of makes the release annoying. Do you think similar, more ships are fun? Okay, I see what you mean. So, yeah, I want exploration as a mechanic, and Pyro, but I'm happy for them just to release stuff as it's ready when it comes to ships and things as well. So yes, I do understand the disappointment there. And yeah, it would be great to have exploration. It would be great to have a new star system to explore. But I'm happy for them to release it as it comes out. So not disappointed, but I suppose I'm excited to explore it properly when we have exploration and larger star systems as well. But in the short term, the Corsair is going to be great as a multi-role, multi-mission ship. If the new flight model drops in 3.18, it's likely I will end my first year hiatus of not playing. But really, what's 3.19 beyond look like? Well, we're getting into 4.0 territory, which is Pyro, dev meshing, and a huge amount of the core of the game sort of completed, new star system. What else we got? Anything there? All... How many more wee woos will we see running around at the end of November? All of them? Are we, what, the police people in the cutlasses with what? I don't know what a wee woo is. What other than I assume it's cutlass reds and cutlass blues with sirens. Cargo factor better see a jump in trade probability to offset the time and loading and the extreme jump. So that there's no. As far as I'm aware, in 3.18, there isn't times associated with the loading and unloading, unless you're looting. That's what it looked like. That's what they implied. They went, oh, we're going to be doing loading and unloading times and costs later. Is it worth buying the STV right now if I plan on buying a ship this month through Warbond? The STV... and pretty much any ground vehicle, I'd recommend you getting it in-game when they're available to purchase in-game. So the STV should be available in 3.19/4.0, early to mid-next year to get in-game. So it's up to you. They're not too expensive, but you can get them super cheap in-game pretty easily, typically. So do you think the cargo factor making piracy more beneficial to maybe have more in-game NPC security flying along the big trade routes? So I see what people mean when they talk about WeWars. Yes, I would expect more security forces to be turning up, but also more player escorts to be requested, and more sort of bounty hunters turning up as well. How do you see the exploration gameplay loop going? So exploration going to be actually quite a lot of gameplay in lots of different sort of areas, including science, but it's going to be tracking down of anomalies and visiting them, getting scan data on stuff, scanning things down on planets, finding things for missions, sort of scanning things for missions, getting research data for missions, surveying so finding points of interest, surveying points of interest, so finding asteroid fields, finding base locations, surveying those locations. It's going to be scanning down wormholes and temporary jump points. That's what I believe, anyway. That's my expectation. And yeah, finding general points of interest in space and sort of mapping them. So that and a lot more is all within the exploration sphere. There's also finding enemy sort of base locations and enemy fleets and all that sort of jazz. anything on Squadron 42? Talked about it a reasonable amount in the Squadron 42 monthly report. So there's a lot of AI and NPC updates. There's a lot of stuff getting done for Squadron 42. It's always hard to tell how far they are into the Squadron 42 thing. It looks like they're genuinely 2 years away now, or within 2 years now. However, obviously, we've had that all before from Cloud Imperium. I'm 53. Do you think I'll see a finished game? Yes. As long as you are not desperately unhealthy, or have some sort of pre-existing condition. Let's reduce your lifespan hugely. How do you feel about 2020's patch release schedule? 3.17.x for a few patches instead of a major patch. Do you think they will keep this release cadence after server meshing 4.0? No. So I think once they have 4.0 out, it will go back to the 4 patches a year cadence. Why are you an avocado? I don't really know. It's complicated, isn't it? I thought it would be useful for the channel and give me more sort of ideas, and I didn't desperately overly want to cover leaks necessarily, but at the same time, obviously I want to cover all the Star Citizen news I can, so it's annoying that I can't cover Avocado leaks. It gives me some more insight, and it's nicer for Cloud Imperium, I suppose, to them probably more likely give me office tours and things like that, and give me more in sort of development information that they wouldn't otherwise, is the way I feel. Although I wouldn't be able to share that, I'd certainly be able to get a good indication of what to cover and when to cover it, and that sort of stuff. So I think it gives me a deeper insight to how to direct my channel. What ships are you going to be buying or interested in this IAE? I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember if I got a Corsair or not, so I'll probably grab a Corsair if I haven't already, and let's see what this new Drake ship is, yeah? What kind of packages do they tend to have for sale during the event? So you'll get some starter packages for the game, so the typical base starter ships, and then beyond that, pretty much every ship is sold in the game that's ever been sold, including rare ships like Idrises and Javelins, which are sold in waves on their respective expo days. Everything should have 10 years insurance as well, unless it's an entirely new ship, in which case it will have lifetime insurance. Is the Banner Merchantman still expected soon? You can probably expect to see it in-game next year. Sort of end of next year is what my expectation is. I should see an update during the IAE, I believe. Any news on the Liberator or the Crucible? No, not as far as I'm aware. No new updates on that. And looking forward to native VR support. Will CIG consider working with Vorpex anti-cheat to get it whitelisted for current play? They haven't talked much about that. Expect them to look at VR more realistically once the Vulkan integration's in. Some of the CIG staff have said they'll work on it in their part-time as well, so in their own time. Hey, well as well. Thank you very much, Kev Likes Games. That's very kind. It's doing well. What's your favourite ship manufacturer? On paper, Drake. I think I probably am starting to like Crusader more now. It's like my sort of go-to ships and the stuff I like. When base building comes, will they also be able to build org stations? So you might be able to build quite large, extensive bases on the ground to suit an org. There's nothing been talked about building space stations yet. Managing space stations was talked about during some of the larger scale funding goals, which they met. So probably we'll be able to occupy stations to some extent, and I would expect at some point in Star Citizen's future, you probably will be able to build stations. Have I been recently? All right, thank you very much. Very tired. Getting ready for the IAE, and then getting ready for my holiday after that. What else have we got? I want to answer too many of the new questions before going back. Do you think lifetime insurance will be worth all the effort people put into getting it? I mean, I think 10 years insurance is probably more than adequate for most people with all that sort of stuff. I think lifetime insurance would be nice to have, but I do not think it's essential. I think that people will be insuring their ships, even if they've got lifetime insurance, because they'll be insuring their ships for any customization they made and sort of like cargo or item changes or whatever. I think it's just going to be the base of the base hull that's covered with the lifetime insurance. And when do you think we will see the first stage of AI blades? 4.1 sort of time. So end of next year, maybe. What it looks like to me. Really roughly speaking. Are we going to be able to use sidearms for civilian clothes? Yes, at some point the attachment points and everything will work with that. When do you think that CIG will start talking about data running? Loop I'm interested in conceptually, but CIG don't seem to talk about it much. So I'm hoping to see it next year again, because basically data as cargo, data running is pretty simple for them to do. They just need a UI for it for the most part, and then some sort of buying and selling UIs for terminals that then deal with that, and some missions for it. So I actually think it's pretty simple for them to get. They've got, obviously, a couple of ships that do data running as a focus already in game. Makes sense for them to cover it right. But they've not talked too much about it, unfortunately. When do you think the Spirit C1 will release? It's in development, I believe, the Spirit at the moment. Early next year, maybe? Mid next year, probably more likely. Will Pyro System be the same size as the Santa System? Pyro System is much bigger. Not to give myself more work, but I'm a blacksmith. If I were to have a knife or tool, spoon, spatula, for cooking, eating, what would you like? Oh my god. Oh my god. You could do me an amazing... What? I mean, I'm a chef. So if you did any form of chef's knife or multi-use knife, that would be amazing. I would love you forever. Do not feel obliged to do that. Or an amazing steak knife or something as well, because I love my steak. Nom nom nom. I think that's very kind, Sharkbite. Sharkspite? Sharkspite? Sharkxbite? Please feel free to PM me your blacksmithy wares as well to have a look. I'm happy to retweet stuff. Are you going to be playing Darktide? Yes, I like to look at Darktide. I liked being an Ogrin, hitting people and going, oh, I'm in the way of everyone's shots because I'm so big. I'm a little hobbit boy in real life. When will I get my hangar back? Oh, so at some point, obviously, we're about to place hangars on planets and have physicalized hangars to some extent, or at least a better hangar system than we have at the moment. I don't know when though. Persistent hangars, I would expect to see next year, but I wouldn't expect them to be super advanced. What do you think the new supposed Drake ship might be? I'm thinking it might be bigger than what we have, maybe a 600i carrot competitor. I think it's not going to be small. There you go. How do you think fixes to ships like the Macrostara getting a second entrance in the corridor before the bridge will be handled? So I think I'd like to see, just for the Macrostara, just an escape hatch with a ladder somewhere. Yeah? Relatively simple. Bam, bam. Get it sorted. Just so there's not one single exit. Favorite ship manufacturer? It used to be at least Drake on paper, but now I think it is Crusader. Will there be any option to customize armor, color, and skin? Yes, you're going to be able to paint your ships and customize your ships quite a lot. Put your names on your ships and things. Ship's name on there. Do you think it would be cool if someone hypothetically made a Star Citizen animation series? Yes, I like machinima. I like animation. I think the Star Citizen probably needs a bit more flesh to its bones before someone does a proper animation. What's your absolute favourite armor set? Oh, I don't know. Zin loves the Star Kitten one. What features are you most looking forward to in 3.18 when it... Oh, I like the is it the grey cat, the yellow one? Just the sort of utility one. I really like that. What features are you most looking forward to in 3.18 when it drops? Sorry if you've already answered this. That's a good question, actually. Just 3.18 dropping is going to be pretty exciting for me. Salvage for the most part, I think. I'm going to be messing around loads with persistent entity streaming. I'm going to be messing around load with Cargo Factor, just sort of seeing what I can do. And there's, I think, something else that's pretty exciting there is the Horizon platform missions that make basically smaller scale Siege of Horizon possible with smaller groups. I think that's sort of pretty exciting for me. What do you think of buying ships on the grey market? As long as you are totally aware of what you're getting yourself into and who you're buying from and the risks of buying on the grey market, then I'm not necessarily against it. And the secondary markets aren't terrible as long as they're relatively well regulated. The grey market on Reddit is pretty well run. I have purchased stuff on there myself. God King Washington, thank you very much for becoming a BoredGamer member. I forgot my channel was called briefly then. Thank you very much, sir. That's genuinely appreciated. Can I already fly the C1 Spirit? No. It is a concept ship. We're hoping that it's going to be... It's in production, though. We're hoping it's going to be ready sort of like mid next year. If that hypothetical animation series were to ask you to voice a character, what would you do? Yeah, I'm a little hoe. I will happily voice characters for stuff. Just give me scripts. Tell me my motivation, who I'm talking to, and if I like them. And I'll happily read stuff out. Let's take over reverse sear. So, if you've got sous vide, reverse sear is great if you don't have a sous vide. But if you have a sous vide, I always recommend sous videing. But yes, reverse sear is great. And yes, ribeye is my favourite. Oh, you're talking about doing it like actually quite a sensible way that you can easily repeat a foolproof array. Yeah, I agree with that. Will there be jump gates between Stanton and other systems? Yes. It would be fun to have blockades. Yeah, people I suspect will be blockading the jump points at some point. So we got... When is Gen 12 fully implemented? So we're getting a big implementation with 3.18, and then they're going to optimize it beyond that in the next couple of patches. So we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. Sorry if this has been discussed, but is 3.18 going to hit before New Year? It's planned to be live by early to mid-December. Is 4.0 even going to happen next year at this point? So I'm hoping that we see 4.0 mid to so Q2, Q3 of next year. That's what it looks like at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. Do you think the Corsair will be relatively easy, flyable, maneuverable for a single pilot? Flyable, maneuverable, yes. Are you going to be able to operate all its weapons? No. With Pyro being lawless, do you think they will have security at the gate? No further in to stop people being taken out as soon as you arrive. There does need to be ways of preventing hardcore gate blockading. At least, unless it's part of the gameplay. So I would expect to see some defenses and some security, even if it's pyro security, or if it's just Stanton security there. Interesting to see how they solve some of these issues and how that then plays out, because then you might have like it might just report regularly, there's a blockade here. There is a blockade behind this gate. You go, okay, well, we need to wait until someone clears the blockade. Do they ever talk about crafting and the economy? I don't recall hearing about it much. So yes, so there's factory nodes. So there's a dynamic economy aspect to it, where I'm moving steel to planets or whatever. They're actually using that steel in manufacturing processes and then moving other components around to then build the things that are in shops. And so that's all happening when you do stuff. There will be some level of crafting in Star Citizen, they've said again and again, but we don't know to what extent player crafting will be in our hands. I'm hoping that it will be pretty in-depth, and we'll be able to build components and weapons and munitions and armor and everything. Maybe even ships with it, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, you can use component pieces in the Pioneer, for example, to build bases. .4.0 equals pyro and 7 meshing and jump points. You think there will be more information on the cargo factor before 3.18? Probably a little bit more. Obviously, they've given us a reasonable amount in the last Inside Star Citizen. If I buy armor or other stuff from the cash shop, can I lose them and get them back automatically every time I die? So, at the moment, if you lose them, you have to reset your account to get them back. Or when there's a reset, you get them back. There will be a system in-game that will allow you to retrieve those items in some way in the future, but there's nothing easily in-game to do that at the moment. Have you seen Morphologist's suggestions to changing the Cutlass to be more livable? And do you think they will rework old ships as time goes on? They'll definitely do some little reworks to ships, and obviously they need to overhaul a load of the internals in a lot of them for physical components and stuff like that. The Cutlass could benefit from being made more livable, yeah, but it's not supposed to be a super long-range ship. So, there's a problem with trying to make all the ships do a little bit of everything, because then you just go, well, let's always have the Cutlass Black. Do you think there's more to Tier 0 cargo factor than CIG let on? Under promise, over deliver. There could be a little bit more to it, but I think for the most part, it is as basic as overhauled trade and cargo consoles, the ability to move one SCU cargo with tracked beam, and the physicalization of commodity cargo. I think that's actually a reasonably big deal. What else have we got? What kind of packages do they tend to have for sale? We talked about that already. Yeah, things like the Saber Raven, is it the Scythe aren't sold, and the Mustang Omega, the AMD one. Do you think they'll talked about that cargo as data as cargo? Mercury Star on upgrade in the Corsair. I love the Mercury Star on it. It's my favorite ship. I sent you a DM. Thank you very much. I will check that out after the stream. Shark's Bite. Very much appreciated. Gate camping sounds familiar. Yeah, indeed. I don't want there to be just sort of aggressive gate camping like there can be in EVE. At least personally, unless there's ways of resolving it or going around it. I'd like gates, for the most part, to be relatively unblockaded. I mean, nearby could be blockaded, and the stations can be blockaded. And there could be events to blockade gates, but I just don't want them to come out of a gate and instantly die. It's like, okay, lame. Without any warning, I suppose. I do have any vision of when AI Blades and NPC crew will actually show up. Was it some point post 4.0? Yeah. I do think they'll ever let you drink from the taps on your ship. I mean, there will be the ability to take water from your kitchenettes. Drink from the toilet, nice. When do you think we'll see the update to EVA specifically from space to gravity within ships? So zero gravity and EVA and all that sort of jazz is being worked on. Sort of like the updated versions of that, as well as the resource system. I think it's actually sort of part of the same thing. A lot of it. It's all connected. Might start to see it phased in next year. What else do we have? Is there going to be procedurally generated universe coming to Star Citizen? So the way they build Star Citizen, it's procedurally assisted. So the way they build planets, the way they build structures, and it's all based. They make the tools for them, and then they sort of say, "I want the system to generate this based on these aspects." Bam, generate this giant space station, generate this planet, whatever. Then the artists then go in and do some handcrafting as well. So procedurally assisted missions. And a lot of the exploration things and points of interest and salvage sites and that sort of stuff, they may be relatively procedurally generated, procedurally assisted, modular. It's not just entirely sort of it's not No Man's Sky procedurally sort of done. It's much more in depth and a lot more handcrafted. Context is given to it, but or modularity to it, rather than necessarily totally procedural. Although it is procedural by its definition, but should be pretty diverse and good and feel constructed. I think that's the idea. What else have we got? Did you genuinely think 3.18 is coming early December? Probably more closer to mid-December. Yes, I do, but I'm not sure if it's going to have all of the components that 3.18 is supposed to have in its initial release. So 3.18.0, I don't think it's going to have everything in it, and I think they'll have to put some of it in 3.18.1 and 0.2. Yeah? And when do you think ship oxygen systems will come? So it looks like it's being worked on as part of the resource system. Along with gravity, along with a load of other stuff, the physical components and stuff like that is also sort of connected to this. Next year at some point, you'll see that in game. That's what it looks like anyway. Wouldn't Star Wars like blockade running be cool to get camping similar? So blockade running, I like the way they do it with space stations, where you know it's sort of happening with the Ninetales lockdown. What biome will you build your outpost in? I mean, I like relatively lush biomes. Savannah, lush, sort of cross between that. Probably not jungle. What do you think the links will look like? Are you gonna get one if it turns out well? Not really super interested in the links. Will planets and moons have orbits and rotations? So they already rotate. Yeah. That's where you get the night and day cycles. They are planned to have rotations as well. I know that seems madness, but that is the plan. Do you think the character needs a rework? No, I mean, it just needs a little bit of a tweak and update, and then obviously the rest of its features to sort of come online. Are they adding exploration gameplay? Yes. We talked about that earlier. So exploration covers a huge amount of stuff, including scanning down points of interest, surveying areas, finding anomalies, traveling to sort of areas for missions, scan data. It covers science gameplay. There's a huge amount of exploration sort of covers, and it will have missions for, and it will also be mapping and finding wormholes and temporary wormholes and all this sort of stuff too. Do you think the SV community would like some technical manuals for ships? People would love that stuff, of course. I think isn't there a... Pretty sure there are people that do make technical manuals for Star Citizen already. Nuke weapons are going to be added to the game. They sort of exist in lore, as far as I'm aware. It's going to be more conventional, big bomb weapons, where it's irrelevant if they're nukes. Do you know what I mean? Zin is super into her medical gameplay. Like, she wants to have the sort of cyberpunk, those medics in that. I would definitely be interested in medical gameplay if you didn't have to be a paramedic. And John McClane, do you know if there's any plans to allow incapacitated people to crawl slowly towards safety? I don't... At the moment, no. Obviously, if you're downed, you're sort of bleeding out and you could be rescued. I like the idea of being able to potentially crawl, or having maybe a system in your suit that allows you to auto-revive in particular armor and particular conditions. If you've got like it gives you like one shot of auto-revive after a little while. What do you think about Pyro Old Lore, Very Deadly Star, and Grassy Planets they've showed us? So it's interesting, isn't it? This is Flare Star, but obviously there's reasons that some of these planets aren't too affected by it. I suspect because they've got very thick atmosphere or clouds or something. I cannot discuss any potential variants of the Pisces, as they may be Evocati lakes. Right. Rotating universe confuses players. Well, yeah, it confuses me as well. But it's supposed to... They've got the system to have splines that can be calculated as planets rotate and orbit. So you could quantum travel to them. They already have that ability in game, apparently, or did theoretically to do it. I have a €350 budget. What ship do you recommend I get at the IAE? It totally depends on what you want to do in game. So is it combat, or is it mining, or is it multi-role? Something like a Corsair is probably going to be great because it's multi-role, multi-crew, does a bit of everything. Obviously, there's things like the Carrack. There's it sort of depends on what you want to do. Corsairs are going to be a great choice for a lot of people. Mercury Star Runner is great, but it does depend on the gameplay you want. Please describe medical gameplay. So there's going to be a lot of scale of medical gameplay. So on the smaller scale, field medic, it's going to be you treating people in the field that have been downed or injured. Sort of drag them to safety, or quickly get them a quick pickup, get them back on their feet. You might have to transport them to like a Cutlass Red or somewhere to a bed so that you can then treat their injuries or stabilize them. You may have to take them to a better facility, like a sort of Hope class hospital, the Endeavour, and then be able to treat them a bit better there. But there's going to be various tools and medicines and stuff that you can carry around with you. There is supposed to be a level of detection they might want to do. It's not going to be super complex, but it is going to have lots of different injuries and lots of different sort of statuses that players can have. And then when you're in a medical bed, you can be more appropriately treated. Any idea what the Drake surprise ship will be? I may have some. Do you think that the Spirit will be a small version of the Mercury Star Runner? It's sort of like it is. I suppose it hasn't got data running, but it's a smaller Mercury Star Runner, sort of a cross between a Mercury Star Runner and the sort of, but it's as small as a Cutlass. Yeah. Hello, you right, J-Bird, mate? Hope you're doing well, sir. Thank you. I may dash off in a second, actually, because I need to get a video out. What's your favourite ship aesthetically? Mercury Star Runner. Love it. Love my Mercury Star Runner. What else have we got? Will the usable cargo containers include the large Con-X boxes you see in the raft in this update? So I believe it's only one SCU size boxes that are now physicalized. Later, we will see the 32 SCU and large containers also added to that. I don't think it's going to be too much further in the future, though. Once we get capital ships like the Orion, do you know if there's any thought towards making smaller asteroids movable or destroyable? So I think they're going to be destroyable and obviously munchable by the Orion. You're going to be able to rip off sections of them, blow them up, that sort of stuff. I believe so. Do you think they will remove the crawl spaces in the Mercury Star Runner and make it thinner? I hope not. Why would they do that? You monster. Monster for suggesting it. My beautiful boy. What have they done to my boy? Right. I think I'm pretty much done. Thank you very much for watching. What ship has the coolest guns? We can put different guns on different ships. Aren't you? I mean, I really like the Perseus in a concept. It's a cool, large, sort of just... It's Corvette-sized, really. It's a bit smaller. But it's Corvette-sized sort of capital ship brawler. Sort of... depends what you're into, doesn't it? Right, I'm going to see who else is streaming. No, thank you very much for watching the stream. Hulk Morning, you're a beautiful boy. Like, genuinely, I super appreciated dropping so many sort of subs and monies at us. And Stormfire, it's always good to see you. And my mods turning up. No, I really appreciate you big here. Even if you think you're late, you're not late at all. You never have to turn up. J-Bird, like, is always appreciated when you do though. Like, genuinely super appreciated from everyone that was here. Yeah, surprisingly large amount of fundraising and people just subbing today. Medical gameplay could involve NPC in disaster or war, casualties, injuries. So there might be sort of like, after a big fleet battle or whatever, you might want to go and collect a load of people that were injured or in space, whatever, to sort of rescue them. There was going to be missions, medical missions like that, yeah. I suspect there will be larger scale sort of disaster missions too. I love your videos, man. Do you think we will see the teased UTV at the IAE, or do you think they will save it for Fleet Week or a smaller event? I'm not sure if the UTV is ready yet. Don't know for sure. I suspect we'll see the Corsair, another new Drake ship, and potentially a couple of other things, other ships / vehicles, turn up at the IAE this year. Do you have plans to do more commercials for Star Citizen Live? Yes, I do. I'm sort of thinking about that at the moment. I love the fact that Cloud Imperium have included my silly, mine is in the silly Kelto ad that we did in the last couple of Star Citizen Lives. I'm glad that they used as a sort of like, this is one of the things we want. We want silly ads. I'm happy to do those silly ads and probably reveal them early to people that are my Patreons and my channel members. So genuinely thank you for that. Oh, Valmore Riera, thank you very much for the donation at the end of the stream. That is very much appreciated. Bored, any ideas when the Kraken will be released? When they focus on it. So I was hoping they'd have it done by the end of next year, but they haven't talked really much about the Kraken and getting it done. Do anything else I can see there? Do you dabble in Warbond CCU game or just buy what you can when you want? I mean, I've got a load of like old Banner Merchantments that I will just upgrade to any ships that I want. I bought a few of that. I've only really put like $3,500 into the game. Say only, but I can sort of justify that more because I go, you know what? I make content on the game, so I can do this. I can spend it, and I don't feel too guilty. I feel a little bit guilty because it's silly money to spend on like digital purchases. Luis Gomez, thank you very much. But I need to go. It's the end of the stream now. Who wants to donate? That's what I should say in the future. Very much appreciated. Some sort of OP robot hippo. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. Will CIG ever implement true pirate missions? Yes. I hope so. I want to see pirate and outlaw missions much more sort of expansive. Makes sense, right? Any other suggestions for different ads to do in game? We'll probably try and cover a load of the silly products in game, like gel bees and things like that. The one SCU boxes should be covered in PES and persistent entity streaming, at least for a good amount of time. Some of this stuff might get cleaned up. Bored, hand over to Super Mario Brothers. That sounds reasonable. I do love the boy. He's a good chap. He's a good mate. Let's double check to make sure there's no one I've promised. Yeah, it would be... There's Space Tomato, there's Morphologist, there's Noodle, there's Super Mario Brothers. I'll do Super Mario Brothers today, because I haven't done him. I haven't raided him in a few weeks. Or at least a couple of weeks. So let's go raid that boy, because he is a fantastic streamer. 24-hour stream when never. I'd have to be paid a lot of money to do a 24-hour stream. I'm bipolar. You're not going to like it when I get to like hour 14 and I'm just depressed and I go, I'm going to go to bed. I'm done. See you later. Why did your mini-mart at Orison stop selling the cat? I don't know why they stopped selling my my little machine gun. I don't know. It was super useful for Siege of Orison as well, wouldn't it? If you could actually buy that there, but maybe they wanted to make Siege of Orison harder. Don't know. Monstrous. My favourite ship by far is the Mercury Star. I absolutely love it. Right, I'm going to pass you over to Super Mac Brothers, Ronnie Boy. He is a good chap, so give the man some love. Thank you very much for watching me today. Thank you very much for anyone that donated to went the extra mile or even asked a question. That's genuinely appreciated. Thank you so much. We'll get a video out in the next hour-ish. I'm going over, probably do NPC and AI updates, sort of that have Clan and Pyramid doing over the last few weeks and what they're focused on now. And then tomorrow we'll get a big old news episode out. But, thank you very much. God bless you as well, Stormfire. Very much appreciated. Very kind. You take care, guys. Love you, lates, and I'll see you in the verse. Peace. I'm going to click on the raid button first. Bam!